We're back, people, and today we're going to film on the Miami Dolphins offense versus the Tennessee Titans, and it was really, really bad. Dolphins, officially have the worst offense in the league. I don't understand with the talent they have at the position. It was just horrible across the board, from an effort standpoint, looking at that effort from Tyreek Hill, the play calling from McDaniel. I feel like last week versus Seattle, it was mainly just, poor, McDaniel having really, poor design, poor execution from the quarterback position. Skylar left plays on the field. But this game, it was everyone. There was bad plays from the receivers. I thought the running backs left a lot of yards on the field. The O-line obviously wasn't perfect. I thought Huntley, did not play good at all. But, I'm not going to harp on him too much because he's been here, a week and a half. But really, just so many bad plays. The offense is just way too hard to execute for someone with this little inexperience. There's way too many illegal shifts going on, way too much going on pre-snap. Offensive line's put in a tough spot. I know people will always just try to, first point at the offensive line for the Dolphins. It hasn't been good, trust me. I got plays in here showing how the offensive line needs to be better. But there's so many other issues going on that it's, really, really, hard to put blame on just one specific group. And I think, McDaniel deserves a lot of blame for it. I'm not sure exactly what the first course of action is being. There needs to be some sort of change. I'm never on the boat where I'm just gonna be asking to fire someone. But I understand wanting to make some changes. I think a lot of people want Chris Greer fired, which is I'm fine with that. But I'm not sure that really changes anything at in this point of the season. During a mid-season firing a GM. But something has to change, whether McDaniel gives up play calling or he really has to change up the calls until the whole system until McDaniel or until Tua comes back. Because even clearly the offense is just so bad without Tua. I've always been a huge Tua fan. He's clearly gone underrated by a lot of people for a long time. The offense was still finding struggles with Tua, but clearly without Tua, they become the worst team in the league, which is insane to me. There's too much talent going on. I will break it down. The Dolphins found some rhythm, I guess, at the end. They finally scored a touchdown. But that's still, not much to put on. The season, it's pretty much draft season at this point. I guess the next two games are still very winnable. This game was still winnable. They just made a bunch of boneheaded mistakes. But I'm still going to be here because, I'm a loyal, diehard fan that's, going to continue to be slightly delusional. I'm not expecting wins, but I'm going to still show my support. And, Dolphins actually came out pretty good. First few plays of the game were very positive. These were probably the most effective reps for the Dolphins, I would say, on the day. Consistent plays where the play action, hit your back foot, and then find the glance route over the middle. It wasn't open the entire game, but they did have, hit this about 3 or 4 times for effective plays. And I thought, Huntley felt pretty comfortable doing those types of things, hitting those looks. This time to Waddle, you have Tyreek on the motion. There's just way too much going on, I think, pre-snap. You can still do motion stuff, but there's way too much shifting pre-snap then to motioning. They'll come up a line and then they'll shift someone across. 2 people will try to reset and then they motion, and that will lead to all the illegal shifts. And then this type of play, man. Honestly, at this point, I'm not throwing these types of plays anymore. I'm not throwing whether it's screens or swing passes. The Titans pretty much showed no respect for the passing game, the downfield passing game. The Dolphins left a lot of plays on the field downfield. They could have had a lot of big plays. That's why I wouldn't say it's strictly on McDaniel, because the players left multiple touchdowns on the field that were open for play calls. But then there's plays like this stuff just doesn't work. And Tyreek Hill, it's embarrassing. I'm having Tyreek Hill just go deep every play, whether forcing he's running sprints. Either he gets open and gets a big play for a touchdown, or you're getting him a good cardio, because what is this effort, man? Absolutely disgraceful. This should have been a Titans touchdown. If this Titans player just took off and started running, I don't think they blew the whistle right away. They only blew the whistle once the Titans player started to slow down and walk. But that should have been a defensive touchdown because Tyreek Hill showed no effort. They all gave up on the play. Just really, really ugly. Then you have a play like this. You give up a sack where it looks like there's just miscommunication on the O-line, slant across here. So he becomes center, 59. But then 56 comes on a delayed blitz. And I guess Jackson, just with how the offensive line's playing this, I guess Jackson's just finding the inside man, the guy that has the clearest path to the quarterback. Because either way, like, one of these guys is coming unblocked, like, whether it's 56 or 58, just with how they play it. I feel like they should be trying to have Brewer take 59, Eichenberg take 56, and then Jackson take 58. So just miscommunication. It gets a sack early on in the game. Another drive kind of ruined towards the end. They bring a pressured look. This is one of the bigger contention plays of the game that people, want McDaniel fired for. And I mean, dude, McDaniel needs to be so much better. This is actually one I wasn't too mad about. Like, on 3rd and 4th and short, the Dolphins have been horrible. Since the Jaguars game, the only plays that would work on that were, like, the fullback dives. Now, is this what I would have called? No, but, like, I don't think it was the worst call in the world. I actually think I would rather do this than the tosses. The tosses are actually so predictable. At least with the jet sweep, like, right here, it's just not executed. If Patrick Paul takes a false step to the inside, if Patrick Paul is able to get any hands on this linebacker, his goal is to climb up here, get to the linebacker. He's not able to get any hands. Tyreek walks easily and gets this first down, but since this linebacker is able to get to him untouched, he's not able to pick it up. So to me, like, at this point, I will say this. On 3rd and 4th and short, I'm either running power with my running back with, like, a lead fullback. Just run straight power. I mean, it's not like it's worked, but at least, it gives you the best chance. Or go run QB sneak with your backup quarterbacks. Or Huntley is in shotgun and just takes the snap and runs power himself. Just a straight snap to him. Like you scored the touchdown was the power to Huntley, because it gives you an extra number with a blocker wise. So to me, I'm kind of done running this stuff, but I didn't mind technically going for the jet sweep because nothing else has worked at all. But really, you just got to get up behind center at this point and just hand it out to a running back, because the tosses ain't working, jet sweep not working, fullback dives not working. Just either hand it to the running back or have your quarterback take snap. Because look how predictable the tosses have come for the Dolphins, like, with a lot of these first snaps. When they see a player aligned like this, whether it's a tight end or receiver, they see you have two tight ends to this side of the field. They see this formation. They see the receiver motioning this way. Really, it's just like, look how much, if this is just a straight run down the middle, like, there's so much room, but, like, they overcommit this flow. Basically, they have two guys stay on the backside, but then they just overcommit. They set the edge. We don't even do crack toss this time. It's just a different setup. We don't crack toss him. Johnny Smith goes to the next level. There's nowhere for the running back to go. It's completely taken away. He would have had to stick his foot in the ground and then get back over here, but this guy has this leverage, so he's probably able to stop and change that. But they're so, like, look how overflowing they are. It was another illegal shift, by the way. I will just say this play actually was probably McDaniel's best call of the game. 3rd and 11, and they run the QB draw. They motion this across. All you have to do is basically have this edge defender take the outside path, really commit on the running game. And they haven't done this at all. They've never shown it, and really it just gets pretty much an easy first down. Jeff Wilson gets a nice block, sells it out there. Probably the best play call of the game, and I guess put them in field position to at least score. This is where you're really missing two on plays like this. Probably should have been intercepted. Actually, a pretty good effort on Tyreek on that one. Huntley throws it up into double coverage, but he actually gets good time in the pocket, play action. There's a couple places for him to go with the ball here. Achane is open in this hook area. If the ball's out, I think Huntley's trying to find Waddle. Potentially could also hit Waddle. It's a tough window to hit Waddle, but if he throws with anticipation, he could split these two linebackers. I mean, it's still very tough, but if he comes off of that and then gets to this side, like, Waddle was his first read, so I understand not trying to rip this to Waddle. It's not super open, but if he comes to this side, like, he should see Achane underneath. Like, if he reads this leverage of this corner, like, this is not open. Just a poor read and decision by Huntley. Just sometimes players struggling to execute. Another example of Huntley struggling to execute, they finally get a one-on-one with Tyreek. Tyreek burned L'Jarius Sneed like 3 times in this game for potential touchdowns, and all of them got missed. They get basically a quarters look, like this safety's sitting down, one-on-one over the top. He misses him, underthrows him probably by about 5 yards in that situation. And just another touchdown left on the field. And this is where, like, this is like where you desperately miss Tua, because even if the offense isn't functioning, this is similar to week 1, like with the Jaguars, where the offense was struggling to function, everything was sort of out of whack. But then you would get that one opportunity where Tyreek would be one-on-one and you take it for a touchdown. And when Tua was the quarterback, those plays turned into touchdowns at a much, much higher rate than pretty much most quarterbacks in the league would. Because a lot of quarterbacks actually struggle to throw deep balls, especially to very fast receivers. That's not something Tua really struggles with, but just so many plays left on the field. Then the running game I thought was just pretty bad. The Titans have a good run defense, but they really did struggle. Like here's actually like to run the ball. I think it was one play calling. I think it was predictable. A lot of the runs, like the Tennessee Titans did a great job, like watching film and adjusting to that type of stuff. Two, I actually don't think the blocking was that bad, run blocking wise from offensive line. It could have been better. Like here, it's actually blocked up pretty well. I think Brewers asked a very tough job to cut off this linebacker, get past the O line, but the linebacker does a great job getting out there in space. And I do think like Achane, like was just I think Achane looks hurt to be honest, and he wasn't seeing the field very well. This one's a tough ask on him. Kind of just runs in the block, but like if he starts to make this cut sooner and slows, like if he presses up here, he would slow down this linebacker. He's pressing so far to the outside, like this is cut off here. Set out to the outside leverage. They're blocked up. Everything's blocked up super well, except Brewer has to get to the second level. And Brewer usually does a really good job at this, but like it's very difficult to do this over and over and over again. But if Achane's path, if he starts to press this up a little bit, like press this up now and get closer, one, he maybe could get these guys to commit to the inside and then bounce to the outside. Or he's going to get this guy to slow down and not overcommit as much and then give Brewer an easy blocking point. That's why sometimes it's on the running back, and then now he sees it too late and there's nowhere for him to go, and he just runs in to the blockers pretty much. So just tough things. Dropped opportunities. This was like the only drop I think the Dolphins had, but Huntley has to get the ball out quickly. There's an unblocked blitzer coming in. I'm not sure exactly what the route concept is here. I don't know if Malik's in the right spot because he's like right underneath where Waddle is, which was interesting. So kind of weird route spacing there. But then the ball floats over him. Waddle, I think guess he expected him to get hit, but he had plenty of time to protect himself. But just too many opportunities left on the field from the offense as a whole. Just not executing, not prepared. Something has to change. It is getting very difficult to watch, I'm not going to lie. But I thought overall the defense actually played a pretty good game, but I'll get to that at a later date. And then I'll get to some of the individual players because there were some good individual performances across the board. Here, Dolphins get pressured again when it was like, those third and long situations. Actually, a pretty good Patrick Paul rep here, being isolated and recovering to the inside. But then just watch Robert Jones. So Robert Jones is peeking to the left here. He sees it really 49 is not going to work to him. He's 1-on-1. He just, now once he peeks back to the right, he takes off instantly. And then 59 is able to loop around, get to him, or 69 is able to loop around. And then Harold Landry's 1-on-1 with a tight end, which I don't know why that is the case. Their best edge rusher, and then they have to just basically throw it away. Good job by Huntley actually getting out of that. There's so many plays left on the field. Like this play, Achane, another missed hole, another missed opportunity. Like this is bounced to the outside. He's able to see this, and it should be pressed up to there. And then once he presses up to there, like he's not in a bad spot here, boom, sticking your foot in the ground and then get upfield. It's blocked up here, blocked up here. It actually gets called for defensive holding, to be fair. So, because he pulls Brewer to the ground, so they actually do get a first down here. But it's just like so many yards left on the field. Like this is outside leverage. Like you're reading end-man line of scrimmage down. This is blocked up pretty well across the board. The only thing is, 93 was the one who called for the penalty. But even him, he's falling over, slipping. Like if you press this up, he's not going to get to you laterally. You can hit up through here and potentially have a huge play. But just too many missed opportunities. And there's just so much going on. Pre-snap, Patrick Paul gives up a sack here. Fake toss. Patrick Paul gets isolated in pass protection, but it's more of like where he gets his hands on early, but he just gets over the top. Poor technique. Patrick Paul did have some good reps throughout this game, but had two big negative reps. The one on fourth down, and this one was, a drive killer. Nothing really open right away, and he just gives up way too quick a pressure off of a play action. I know he's isolating a lot of space to work with. And then you get 3rd and 20, and you miss Tyreek. Titans rotate into a cover 3, basically holding this safety single high. This guy buzzes down. Tyreek Hill gets open, works past him. This time he overthrows him slightly. It's a tough throw to make, but damn, there's so many points left on the field. They finally get the look that they want. Like the Titans were not like that's a 3rd and 20, and the Titans weren't respecting the downfield passing, and that's why losing Tua hurts so much. Honestly, at this point, the Dolphins lose out without Tua. Like he shouldn't even come back. He will come back because guess what? People are fighting for their jobs. But yeah, I don't think he should. This play was actually earlier in the game. I just kind of forgot to put it there. So this was later on, but this is another example of missing Tyreek Hill because it's the play action, trying to hit the glance. They get out of it. It's not open. Like they fly to it. The Titans clearly, watching film, know the Dolphins love to hit these quick glances. They see his eyes go this way. This linebacker's gain depth. This safety shoots across the field. They're trying to take it away. Once he doesn't see that though, and he has some time. He has time in the pocket. I would understand like if he was getting pressured, throwing it down to right. But he has time in the pocket. Look at Tyreek Hill. After the glance route, this second read should be going to find Tyreek, seeing he's open deep, which he is. Another potential touchdown opportunity missed to throw it underneath, where the underneath routes just weren't working. They weren't open all the game long. And then another 4th and 1. I prefer to be under center. I don't mind coming in shotgun if it's going to be a QB run, which I think it should have been one because it was like a power QB read here. Like they pull across with 65. They're asking everyone to block down here. 89. Julian Hill kind of messes up his block. But when they run this, like that, he hands this off, which I guess I understand why he hands it off because this guy wins his rep. But even when Huntley hands it up, he's like pointing to get downhill. So Achane should be able to like recognize and show some sort of feel to stick his foot in the ground right away. But I feel like he just wasn't healthy, and it was too late. He gets too wide, and now Robert Jones has no chance to block this linebacker because of how wide he gets. But if Huntley just pulls the ball here, because Huntley has the opportunity to pull this, I'm pretty sure. I would be surprised if he didn't. He could get upfield. This guy's a chance to make the tackle, but at least if Huntley pulls, Jones would have been in a much better position to block this guy because this guy would go right into him and he could potentially get downhill. And if he's able to get past this guy, I mean, he's got all the room to work with. But just poor execution, poor play calling. I don't think you should give him the opportunity there. Just get downhill. Then this was the touchdown drive. Another, play action glance. Some of the Dolphins' most successful plays. Able to hit this, see this linebacker back turn away. Tyreek will hit him in stride. Thought Huntley looked pretty good in those situations. But, Huntley played bad, don't get me wrong. But, it's a tough ask for most, I would say most quarterbacks, whether you're a backup or starter, to come into this situation with what the Dolphins are running. For anyone to really execute because it's so tailor-made to specific skill set. Not just Tua. There's a few quarterbacks with this skill set around the league, but there's not many that can run it. And it's very, very complex and complicated. And the offense was already kind of working downhill anyways, but they found some running success getting downhill. I thought Jalen Wright needs to be fed. I might do a video on that where I was saying Jalen Wright, I think, just looks healthy. Achane was not healthy in this game. I think limiting Achane's touches could help him out. Could help him maybe hit some big plays, using him more as the receiver down the field like he can be. Have Wright get downhill in a hurry. I think they can probably find more success running the ball. The Titans have a very good interior defense. It's run downhill versus them like this. That's why they weren't able to do it consistently. I think they can find more success running downhill, running power, running inside zone against other teams. But it just didn't work out in this game. They weren't able to really find any success until that play, this touchdown drive. Find some rhythm. Dolphins did their best not to score on this drive with all the illegal shifts. Before this, they had illegal shifts. No one got set. Tyreek Hill. Huntley does a good job here creating some space for himself in the pocket. Actually throws this ball with nice anticipation to Tyreek Hill here. It's actually a really good play from Snoop, but there was just another illegal shift, and they just kept absolutely destroying themselves. This actually was an insane conversion on a 2nd and 19 for Huntley. This is the perks of having a quarterback with some athleticism is you can pick up plays like this. Huntley really got to show off, and he's able to convert a first down running with his legs. That's why I still would like to have him out there. I know some people definitely don't want to see Skylar anymore. This is Huntley first snap. I know people might want to see Tim Boyle, which I do think Tim Boyle probably would have had a better game just because he's much more familiar with this system. But I don't think, I do think Tim Boyle is a very, very bad NFL quarterback. He just has more experience in the system. Here they actually were able to convert a 4th and long. It was the only time where they threw it underneath and no one was there to tackle. They actually had room to work with. Not sure what changed on that one. They did a good job with Waddle. I guess Waddle did a little pick there at the beginning, so they weren't as paying attention to it. Every other route is kind of carrying down the field. It was like the only time where they weren't shooting down the field. I guess situation wise changes things. So Waddle gets it was like Waddle's biggest play, and then they tried to run it in with the running backs. The running game the running game just isn't working that well when the defense knows they're going to run the ball. When they're keeping it pretty fresh, they're mixing things up. Like it's like, oh, they could run or pass the ball here. The running game has worked decently, not necessarily in this game, but throughout the year. But this is what I was asking for. I'm like, please, just run QB power. You just straight up snap to it. Even if you just go empty, and even if they have extra people in the box here, it's an extra number running game wise. Just because your quarterback isn't handing the ball off, so you lose a number. It's just him running here, and you're still able to get in. It just gives him a very good feel because he can see everything, allow the blocks to develop. Boom. Really nice run there from Huntley, and was the only touchdown they were able to score, and I think this is some of the value that can bring. I think the red zone offense can actually potentially score some points if that's the plays that they decide to run, because they really struggled to score down in the red zone. And this last play to show, just the intentional grounding. The game was over by this point, so not turning too much stock into it. But they bring pressure up the middle. Pretty much instantly they pull across here. I believe Jackson loses his rep. Once Jackson loses the rep there, it opens up pretty much everything, because then Jones has to try to make up for him. Then the guy that Jones was supposed to block comes in free. Now this guy's able to work super far to the outside on Jonnu, because Huntley should be able to step, it's fine where this guy is, because usually Huntley should be able to step up and away from it. But since they lost so bad, it's not able to do that, and then he has to throw it away, and that turns into intentional grounding, which turned into safety. By that point, the game was over. It was still a 2-score game. There was only 2 minutes left, but yeah. Game was over. Not a lot of, pretty much nothing really to like throughout the game. A couple, I guess, positive snaps, but just poor effort. Something needs to change. It just feels like this team is heading towards exploding. Just ending it, which sucks because Dolphins are not in that position. They don't have, with how the contracts are built, they gave up too many, contracts to, the players that still had existing contracts on the team, paying, Tyreek and Ramsey and all of them. Not sure those were necessary. I understand paying guys like Waddle and that, that was obviously moves you had to make, and, signing some of the free agents. The free agent signings haven't been that bad, actually. With considering the cap space and those players and the cheapness of them, those weren't the moves that were the problem. It's now that you put yourself in a position where you have to win now, you have to pay these players for a few years, the older ones, and it's you almost looks like you need to reset, and you're gonna have probably a top draft pick at this point. It is still very early in the season, so I think things can change. But damn, the Dolphins are in a rough spot because they're in a win now window, and with how things are going, it doesn't look too good. So it's very difficult to be a Dolphins fan. We'll see how it plays out, I guess. The Dolphins needed to go 2-1 in the next 3, so I guess they have to win the next 2 for the season not to be over, and I guess that's possible, but the hopes and optimism is dropping by the second. I don't want to be... I'm also not the type of fan to just be it's over, blow it up instantly. I'm not an overreactionary type of person, I think, in either direction. I'm not going to say they're, they would win a game and they're Super Bowl bound, or they're going to lose and the season's over. But it is looking very, very rough, and there's a lot of problems across the board. Hopefully, I guess, if Snoop continues to play, more time in the system will help him, more time being around. But there's just... And the game was very winnable. Obviously there's things you can say, if McDaniel called a better game, or even if McDaniel called the exact same game and they just hit Tyreek Hill on those... at least 2 of those 3 potential touchdowns, they win. Because the final score looks way worse than it was because of, the safety at the end, and they give him a free touchdown at the end for no reason. Defense played pretty good. I believe 20... I'll get into that tomorrow, but thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the zombie.